Hey, Deacon Matt here, reaching out. I bet you thought you would find me in front of a fire or some image of fire or something for the Feast of Pentecost. Happy Feast of Pentecost. Here I am, I'm in front of a construction site. And what does that have to do with the Feast of Pentecost? Well, when you're a young man and you start out on the construction site, you're required to show up with your own tools. And that's true for anyone who works in construction. You're required to show up with your own tools. And as a young man, as you're given instruction and you begin to learn, you learn how to use those tools and you learn how to become effective with those tools. Now, for the big jobs, every contractor has the larger tools. So we're talking cutting torches, welding machines, cranes. There's a crane over here to my right, forklifts, chain falls for lifting heavy equipment. You're given the bigger tools for the bigger jobs. And as a young man, you begin to learn to use those tools of your own, and you begin to learn to use the bigger tools. So what has that got to do with the Feast of Pentecost? Right. And each of us at our baptism is given the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit: wisdom, knowledge, understanding, counsel, piety, fear of the Lord, and fortitude. Now we come with our own gifts, our natural abilities, those small gifts, those things that we're able to do, those talents. But here the Holy Spirit at baptism has given us supernatural gifts, gifts that we are unable to acquire on our own to the fullest extent. Yes, we can acquire them somewhat, but the Holy Spirit perfects those gifts in us. And so we begin to learn to use those. And I say, if you haven't used the gifts of the Holy Spirit or even thought about those gifts, they are lying dormant in your life. Last week for the Feast of the Ascension, Jesus says, go out and proclaim the gospel to all nations. We need the gifts of the Holy Spirit to proclaim the gospel to all nations. We need that wisdom, knowledge, counsel, understanding, piety, fear of the Lord, and fortitude. We need that. And so when we're ready to proclaim the gospel, when that door opens, when we're in that conversation with that person, that situation arises, and we feel it in our heart, we feel that gentle push of the Holy Spirit to proclaim the gospel, that's when we need to use those gifts. Or when we're preparing to go into a situation where we know we're going to speak with people, and that door will open to witness. And sometimes that door opens when we're not even speaking. It's just us living our lives. We need to use all of these gifts. Sometimes we encounter those difficult situations to witness to people. We need to go into those situations and ask for wisdom, knowledge. What do I need to say and do here? How does this person react? What do I do to engage this person? This is when we're using those supernatural gifts. And believe me, it's just like on the construction site, when you're learning to use your tools, you're not always adept or efficient with those tools. The same with the gifts of the Holy Spirit. We need to put them into practice and we need to use them. And so moving forward, it looks like we're going to be able to get into our churches again in the future. And so you're going to need the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Mass is going to look a little different. Things are going to be a little different than what you're used to. But we're going to be there as community. We're going to be there. Jesus Christ will be present in the tabernacle and present on the altar, and we will be able to receive. There's hope in that. There is hope in the opening of the churches, but it's going to be a little different. It's going to take some wisdom. It's going to take some knowledge, some understanding, counsel from the Holy Spirit. And it's going to take fortitude to push through some maybe unusual situations at Mass. But there is hope. We will be going back to the churches. We will be able to go to reconciliation. We will be able to receive Holy Communion. So today, I invite you to think about those gifts of the Holy Spirit. Think about how they act in your life. Think about your use of them. Or not. Anyway, have a great day. Pray, hope, and don't worry. God bless.